When painting from the perspective, it is important to have good drawing. So sketching is very important. This is what I do. I sketch on my sketchbook, I make the composition, I make the plan, and then I go for painting. I put that on the paper with a pencil. In this painting today, I will draw some people activity on the boat in a seascape, but I will draw it from perspective from the top. So this is how I plan before I put that on the paper. So I just do a pen work in most of the times because that's quick. And if you can remember, in one of my early video I showed you how to paint people from the top perspective. This is the one. So I will show you how I applied that technique onto the sketch I'm just doing right now, and how I transform that one onto the page. And I will show you how you paint that on actual painting. So that's my sketch, and these are the brushes I'll be using. I'm not sure yet which one I'll be using most, but this is the one which is a synthetic hairbrush, and this is a flat brush, and that's gonna be probably I'll be doing for the washes. And these three brushes I'll be using most, and this brush maybe I'll be using, but I'm not sure yet. And for the big washes I may use the big flat. And this is my palette. I have neutral tint, ultramarine blue, and some gray, and this is the cobalt turquoise, and I have yellow ochre, and some burnt sienna, alizarin crimson, lemon yellow, orange, bright orange, cadmium red, and some white stuff. And I'll be using all these colors. I'll make gray out of that one, and this gray is very important. And as you can see, I just mix all of them together. I use this whatever is left behind on the palette. So let's start painting. I will start with some random marks to draw the background and leave the background as they are. These are not suggestion of anything, just to fill up the white spaces. And on the left corner I will use cobalt turquoise with some cobalt blue to do the initial wash of the water splashing on the boat. I'll be a little bit careful about leaving some white spaces to specify the water forms and this sort of stuff. And on this stage I will be really doing some underneath wash of warm and cool. And for the cool I will use burnt sienna with hint of cadmium orange in there. I will do some work on mast and timber floor of the boat, and I'll be painting some darks as well, even though probably in actual scenario they won't exist, but just to highlight the cool colors and the light colors to intensify them, I'll be using some dark colors on the timber floor sometimes. These are the underneath wash of the sails. So I have a plan when I'm painting. I'm just planning inside my head what I'm gonna put the highlight on and what's gonna be my focal point. My focal points will be the people who are working and who are trying to control the ship's boat with huge waves crashes on the boat, on the timber floors, and flooding it up. The people are working with the mast and sails. So I'm just concentrating. My subject is that. So background water and how the sea looks like, I'm not totally putting my concentration on that one. Once that is dry, I will start drawing my main characters of this painting, which are the figures. I will start with the face, and then I will start with their attire, the tops. Using lavender color and then bit of burnt sienna mixed with the lavender. I don't have any reference there, so what I'm doing, I'm just sort of experimenting how they will be looking like. I'm trying to squinting my eyes sometimes, trying to guess how they look like and how they will be looking like. So I'm using some cool color and mix of warm color in there. And trying to figure out the dark and lighter value of this figure so that it forms a figure and it looks like it's doing something and it makes sense. The way I am distributing my paints is I'm just picking some like thick paint and then using water to smudge them to take the effect of wet on wet, spread them alongside where the wet areas are. For the trouser, I'm using some dark value. I'm using blue at the moment. I will be using some more darker values in there. The reason I'm using blue, I'm not trying to get into the dark straight away. I'm trying to see how they will be looking like. As I have done the painting vaguely, sketching vaguely, so with the paint I'm trying to understand how it will be looking like. I'm trying to use my brush very calculatively, so I'm just thinking inside my mind how they will be. Thinking of the brush strokes, thinking of dark and light. The brush strokes needs to be very calculative. It needs to show exactly what you were thinking, as well as it needs to show the spontaneity. I'm using now negative painting technique I've shown you before to highlight the shoulder of this front person and drawing the person on the back, using the same techniques, using some warm and cool and using the water to spread the paint throughout the wet area. Even though I'm taking a bit of time to draw these figures, remember, whatever you do, if you want to paint loosely, even though you're painting very slowly, your brush stroke needs to show that you're painting loosely. So plan your brush stroke according to that. And I will exactly do the same thing with the third person in there. In the sketching, I sketched 4 people in there, but I thought I'm not going to paint the 4th one because it's going to be too busy in this small boat area. I'll draw some timber on the side of the boat, edges of the boat. Down there I'll make some darker value in there. I'll be, as most of the figures here, I've painted them with cool colors, so to enhance them I'm using very bright warm color for the timbers, decks and this stuff. For the deck, I'm not going to be using this warm color all through the way. Rather, I'll be using some dark colors in there just to enhance the waves and white space because I need those white space to show the waves crashing on the boat. So in order to enhance those white space, I need to make sure the floorboards are a bit darker. I'm trying to have some brush strokes at this stage. These are the things will make your painting distinctive than others. When you paint, just remember one thing: the things you're painting, everything has been painted already. Nothing new about that one. Only new thing comes up, your own style, your own perspective, your choice of colors, and your brush strokes. I am using side of the brush to show the waves, and as the waves crashing on the boat, there are some timbers and there are some reflections and everything in there. So I'm not gonna putting only blue or cobalt turquoise colors only for the waves. I'm using some randomness. Even though I don't know like how the waves will be crashing on them, I'm just trying to experimenting with the brush stroke and see how it comes up. If it comes up well, probably I will do more larger painting on this one based on this. I'm finishing this painting slowly, not doing everything at one go. As you've seen already, the way I work is when I have some paint on my brush, I try to do everything related to that paint so that I have some synchronization with the pigments and colors throughout the painting. So doing some darks and lights to create some 3D effect. I'm using some negative painting, so using a little bit of cool color or some darker value there to show up the highlights of the hats. I'm doing all three hats together. Now let's work on the sails with warm and cold mix. So down at the bottom I will be putting some warm color in there. This is the mast I'm painting now. I'm using the flat brush to draw the mast, paint the mast. And there is another mast in there. The placement of the mast is a bit of interesting in that case. Kind of taking the photos using the fisheye lens. The closer to your lens, the larger it gets. When painting the sail, I'm using the same technique, like use of warm and cold together. Inside the boat, I'm using some cool color to show the water splashing on the boat as well. doing some timber structure on the side of the boat. Now painting some darker values of the waves. I'm shifting to different colors, different times. That's how you make your painting interesting. Even though it's a blue, try to use different blues in different ranges with different values as well. So I'm mixing up cobalt blue with a little bit of burnt sienna, trying to giving it a different pigment colors. Some structures in the boats as well. Randomly I'm picking something and trying to make it highlight, just to show the existence of the stuffs inside the boat. I felt like making this part a bit of more warmish color so that it can complement my figures more. I felt like my timbers are a bit, when they dried, they're a bit lighter, so I'm just trying to increase their values using the flat brush. I'm using some Chinese white to create some differences of values, make some places lighter. Using burnt sienna to paint their hands. This guy is holding up a rope or something, sitting down there. I don't know what this guy is holding. It's not important. Important is that they are busy with doing something. I felt like this gentleman doesn't have enough darker values on the top. So just doing some darker values and trying to show up this guy in 3D look. This one has got some lighter values as well, so just make them darker. As soon as you put some dark marker there, surrounding lighter part gets popped up, as you can see. I'm using some Chinese white, bit of gouache mixed to paint the splashes of the water. This goat hair Chinese brush is really good for painting some texture, splashes, directions, this sort of stuff. Using some splashing techniques to paint the texture, the waters splashing and those stuff. Using some gouache. I don't mind using gouache, like opaque painting in watercolor. Doing some railings in here. Some people, they love to do the watercolor only with the transparent colors. That's fine. I do with both. Having said that, watercolor meant to be transparent. That's how they evolved. But later on, many famous artists used opaque paint on watercolor. Starting from Winslow Homer to Singer Sargent as well. Painting some strings and ropes and verticals. Rigger brush is perfect for those, but I love to use any brush with really pointed tips. This is the very ending detailing part. I'll do that quickly, like sketching. Use some dark paints and do here and there. This side looked like empty, so I thought draw something in there as well. Doing more splashes in there. I'm almost at the end of the painting. Just finishing it up with these splashes, giving some illusion of details. And that is all, my friend. I hope you liked it. This is the painting. Looks like view from the top, and that's how I approach it. If you like it, please don't forget to subscribe. I also have free ebook on figure painting. Don't forget to download that. Link is in the description, and I can tell that will be very helpful for you. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.